Hello, I'm Lisa Bien, and welcome to Bouncing Back. On this show, we talk a lot about what people do to bounce back as individuals. And while bouncing back is always a personal journey, it is rarely one that we take alone. There are people who come along with us. When we bounce back, it is often difficult, from the most difficult chapters in our lives. It's where we learn who our truest friends are. Overcoming adversity is always hard, but it can be made easier with the help of friends. Let's get started. Olivia Bohrer was born with a congenital heart defect. It was always a risk to her health, but just before last semester at Temple, it became worse and it required surgery. The surgery was set for June 1st, less than 1 month after finals, when most college students are thinking about life after graduation. Here's Olivia, forced to think about life after life-altering surgery. Now she has a mechanical valve in her heart, and it has presented her with challenges most of us will never have to think about. Yet she has found a way to press forward and build a new life for herself. Thank you for joining us today, Olivia. Stephanie Kessler has been a close friend of Olivia since middle school, and she's always supported her through the years. She's helped Olivia deal with the anxiety before the surgery, and she was there to greet her when she woke up. Her steady presence in Olivia's life after the operation has helped her to motivate Olivia to re-engage with life. Well, thank you for joining us today. Very excited to have you as a guest on my show.
Yeah.
Since you were in my class, last semester, 2 semesters ago?
It was a good semester. Take her class.
Well, thank you for that glowing endorsement. So what's interesting is, though, that you were a student in my class for an entire semester, and I had no idea that you had this health issue. Right?
Yeah.
And I always say that we teach many children and many students come in our class, and we really never know what their story is. So thank you for agreeing to be on our show today to share your
no
story.
problem.
So you were born with this defect. How old were you when you first found out about it?
When I probably came to recognize that it was a problem was when I started school, because I was limited on what I could do as far as physical activities. So starting school is when I realized I was different from all the other kids.
So how old were you? Just can you try to
I don't know,
figure
probably
it out? Elementary school? Here you
yeah,
are?
late elementary school, probably I don't know, 10 to 12.
Well, which I think 10 to 12, and here you are, you're finding out, oh my God, I'm different in some way, right? Nobody wants to be different. We all kind of would like to fit into the social norm of life, correct?
Right.
So you found out you're different. What was the first thing you thought? Oh my God, I have this heart defect. I have to deal with this for the rest of my life?
Yeah, well, my dad has the same problem, so I saw him go through it, and he had the surgery when he was 40. So at 10, I was like, well, I don't have to worry about it, and it got me out of gym class, so I was like, that's fine, I don't have to swim in middle school, perfectly okay with me. So when I was younger, it wasn't a big deal at all. It really only became a problem when I was going into middle school, and then I had the aneurysm developed, which...
An aneurysm in your heart?
It was in my aortic valve, and so that just means that the valve is growing and it's bigger than it's supposed to be. So it makes your whole heart weaker, obviously.
So they found out that you have this aneurysm. Now you're in middle school, right? And you're playing soccer at this point. You were
Yes.
playing activities, correct? So even
Right.
though in elementary school they were like, oh, you have a heart defect and you're different. Now you're playing soccer. Now they say what?
Right. Well, they made me quit soccer because I was on a travel team, so it was very competitive, and they didn't want me to get any direct contact to my chest. They also didn't want me to exert myself too much or push myself too much to make it an emergency situation where I'm getting rushed to the hospital and my heart's exploding. So
Yeah. I don't think we want that. I don't think
Yeah.
your parents wanted that either.
So I had to stop playing soccer, which was devastating. I was really upset about that because soccer was my life at the time,
So you're in middle school. Soccer is your life. See, I always want to share the story. How did we overcome the adversity? How did we bounce back? And here you are. You're in middle school and you love soccer. You have a passion for soccer, and you're told you can no longer play. That's got to be devastating.
Yeah. I was sad. I was crying in my doctor's office, so.
She was sad is probably an understatement.
Yeah.
So you two met in middle school, correct?
We actually met when we were 7. My neighbors were her grandparents, so we would play together as kids. And then in middle school, we reunited and found out we used to know each other, and then we became friends.
So you became friends in middle school, and did you know about her heart condition?
Not right away. It wasn't something that immediately affected our friendship. It wasn't something that she was just like, "Hi, nice to meet you. My heart's broken." So.
Right, I know,
But
but is
eventually I
it
found
something that
out.
we talk about? You know, when you're growing
Yeah.
up, you have friends that have diabetes, and obviously, you know, we talk about diabetes because we know the kids, it tends to be
Right.
like, I do have diabetes, does
Right.
seem to be more of a conversation starter. So how did you learn about her heart problem?
Probably just by experience. I don't think it was ever something she just decided to tell me. It probably just came up in conversation. Like, oh, I used to play soccer, but now I can't. That's probably what it was, because she used to tell me she would play soccer. And
How devastating is that, though? Because we all want to do things in life, and unfortunately, you know, we all believe that we can do everything, but you wanted to play
Right.
soccer and you couldn't. So what did you do to make up for taking, you know, losing something that you love and you're passionate
Right.
about?
Well, it took me a while to kind of get through the emotions of it, but I then just kind of put myself into other passions. So I started taking voice lessons and singing more, and I got more involved at school and just kind of hung out with my friends outside of soccer more. Because at first, when I couldn't play soccer, I was like, oh, well, that's all my friends too.
Right.
But, you know, I met her, and then I made other friends as well.
She met you. And look at you guys now, you're such great friends, right? So, middle school, you can't play soccer, you start singing. Are you still singing?
I do a little bit. I don't sing like professionally, but I was singing. Like I would do like local concerts in our town, and I applied to be on The Voice actually before. It was between Temple or The Voice, and I obviously didn't make The Voice, so I came to Temple.
Well, we're glad to have you here because we love having our students here. So, you know, you're born with something and it impacts your life, and it still seems like it's still impacting your life, right?
Right.
The surgery was June 1st. Here we
Yeah.
are. What, 3 months later? How are you feeling today? What are you doing rehab-wise?
Today, I actually feel really good now. The first couple weeks out of the surgery were awful. They were horrible. I was sick all the time and exhausted. But it didn't take long for me to kind of bounce back. And, you know, my mom is an ER nurse, so that definitely helped because she was like, you have to start walking, you have to get on your feet. And so it definitely helped me recover faster because I started, you know, just walking around the house even, like, helped. And then now I'm in cardiac rehab 3 times a week, and so they make you work out for an hour. But that's definitely helped me gain my strength back and my endurance back. So it's hard, but it's a long road. I still have, in October actually, I have to go back and get, you know, just all my tests redone to make sure that I am fully recovered. So
I can only imagine that, you know, we all wake up every day and we think about something. It's always
Right.
it's almost like I always say, it's like on our shoulder sometimes, and sometimes our concerns are right in front of our nose. You know, is this something that you think about every day? Are you constantly sitting there thinking, why, are you ever thinking, why me?
sometimes. I mean, it sucks sometimes because it's not my fault, you know, and it's not really like my family's fault. It just kind of happens, you know,
Exactly.
it's genetics. But, and I mean, my dad's father had the same problem, but they didn't know because they just didn't have the technology. So if they had known back then, maybe, you know, it would be a little different now, but who knows. And so, I don't know. It's not something I think about every day, but definitely with the surgery coming up, it made it more prevalent in my life. I mean, luckily I had school and it was my final semester, and I had my PR capstone class, which was a lot of work. And so I threw myself into school for like the first couple months because I found out in January.
Okay.
And so I had that whole semester before I actually had the surgery. So I would say after graduation is when it really hit me, you know, and it started to sink in.
So that you bring up a great point as well. You know, a lot of times we're going through life or school and we
Right.
find something pending. You know, we know that, oh, we have a big something happening, right? And life changes constantly. What would you say that Stephanie, I'm sorry, Stephanie brought into your life that was helpful and momentous for you that help you, keep going while you were in class?
I would say just like being a friend. Like instead of being like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, she was like, well, you're not going to be able to drink for a while after your surgery, so we're going to go out and we're going to have a great time beforehand, and she took me to the beach for my birthday, and that was, after the surgery because my birthday's in July. And so just her being understanding of the fact that like I got tired easily, and she was always like, whatever you need, we can like stop and sit, or we can keep going. It's kind of up to you.
So you sound like you're pretty incredible yourself, right?
I try.
So I'm actually reading a book, and it's about relationships, and it talks about just being there, being there and taking care of each other, and that is truly what an authentic relationship is about and friendship is about. Is that how you would define friendship, especially for the two of you, or is this a special bond that you have because of what you've been through?
Right.
I mean, sometimes adversity makes us closer.
I think so. We're very different people. We've gone through such different life experiences already. Our lives aren't really comparable. So it helps a lot because we both learned a lot from each other. And just being there and being selfless and understanding that they're going through something that you don't understand. So it's important to just kind of sit back and let them tell you what they need, or, take the cues and be a good person.
I love what you said. Tell them what you need, because I think oftentimes in life we don't tell people what we need, So you were really good at articulating what you needed to each other or to everybody?
I would say so. We're very comfortable with each other. So even when we're fighting, I pretty much just tell her exactly what's on my mind. It's not like I'm like, oh, I have to tiptoe around her. Because usually when we get in fights, it lasts like a day, and then I'm like, I'm sorry. So.
Like an hour.
I know. So.
Like an hour. It's not really a day.
Yeah.
Get it right.
So it's easy with her, because even when, we don't always talk, every single day or anything, but usually she can immediately tell when I'm upset, or I can tell when, she's gotten annoyed. So. It's very easy to feed off of one another.
Isn't that the truest of friendships, though? Even when you can.
It's not fake.
I'm sorry?
It's not fake.
There's nothing. Well, the greatest kinds of relationships and friendships are the ones that are not fake, right?
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, right? Especially, I love this, and I don't know if you have this as well, is that when you're texting somebody, they immediately can tell when you're having a bad day. What's wrong, right? How many people have that in their life? It seems like the two of you really have that as well. So you have your girlfriend, your best friend. Who else was really important to you to help you bounce back and get here? And now I know you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
Once you're...
But I don't know. I would say my mom was definitely a big help, because not even just being my mom, but being an ER nurse, it was I had a personal nurse at home. And it was helpful in the hospital because they're very busy there,
right,
to have her and be able to be like, I need this. And she would just go, grab me extra supplies. Or once I got home, she knew all my medicine and helped me figure that out. And, when I was sick and couldn't get out of bed and was, and in an awful condition, she is used to dealing with that. So she wasn't afraid to just jump in there and help me out.
Well, you look fabulous. I'm so happy that you're here. Interestingly enough, I didn't know about your condition, and you were in my class all semester. And then we became friends afterwards. I think because of the surgery, actually. Someone had told me you were having some major surgery. What I did notice, and I'm curious about, is social media. You were on Facebook rather quickly after the surgery. I remember seeing your updates. Now, did that help you, having that outlet, that release of social media, being able to engage with some of your friends? Or sometimes we hear social media makes us depressed.
I think it definitely helped me. I would say I only received support from it. I mean, it was also nice to be able to type one sentence and have my entire family, all my friends updated, so it wasn't like I had to call every individual person. It was also one of the only activities I had to do, because, I could get up and walk, but I couldn't really leave my house that much. And when I first got out of surgery, I had a lot of water weight, so I couldn't even put on pants to go places.
So you've been through a lot the last couple of months.
Yeah, so the social media definitely helped, because I was able to talk and interact with people and feel involved and, fill my time without actually having to, go out.
But So here you are, post surgery, you're laying in bed, and how do you get it? Like, how did you get that energy? I know you said your mom was really
Right.
supportive, but don't you believe that there's something internal about us that makes us say, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to get through this? I know it was difficult for you. Everyone's graduating, we talked about it, you were stressing about, oh my God, am I going to get a job? And I said, worry about getting healthy and then we'll get you a job. So, but while you were laying there, you had your friend, your mom, what else got you through?
Well, I think I've always been very self-motivated, and like even with just school, I mean, I was a double major and I had to take summer classes and winter classes because I wanted to graduate on time, and so I kind of always have set a goal for myself. And this was difficult because like I wanted to recover, but I needed to give myself time to recover. And even now, like I still have more tests to go through in October, and I'm like, I just want to be done.
Right.
But
it's interesting though, you say the word time, it really is about time. You have to give yourself time to heal physically, and then emotionally you sound like you're doing great, right?
Yeah.
So you've been through a lot, you've had some adversity in your life, and your life has changed as well the last couple of years. Congratulations. Tell me what you think adversity has taught you.
I mean, the obvious one is to never give up, but also to like not be so hard on yourself, because everyone makes mistakes. No one's path is the same, and like you'll get there eventually. I think you should just enjoy the moment and kind of be happy with what you have, because there's so many people in the world who don't have anything and are struggling more. And I know like it doesn't make your struggle any less because you're feeling those emotions, but you should just, I think people beat themselves up way too much,
Beat themselves up because they're not doing enough,
Yeah, or they're just not where they want to be in life, because things do take time. Like even, I mean, not to throw your business out there, but she like wants to buy a house, and it's kind of like that process, even just filling out the paperwork and everything takes a long time, and she wants, to already be in the house. So.
Why is that? Why are we always constantly rushing? I mean, really, you're right. We all have to learn how to take a deep breath and take some time. So what do you guys have moving forward? You have any, you did something before the surgery. Now, you're post-surgery, right?
Right.
How many more months do you have for the rehab?
Rehab, I'll be done the beginning of October. I'll be officially done the rehab, and then throughout October, I just have like a CAT scan and an echocardiogram, but that stuff is like one day doctor visits. So by the end of October, I should be like back to normal, back to just like I'll still have to see my cardiologist, but it'll only be once a year versus, every couple months. So
I always say in life, people can say many things. People can say, I love you. People can say, you're my best friend. You two have really shown each other that you love each other and that you are each other's best friends, right? What would you say the ingredient is of the magic of your relationship? Is it based on trust? Is it based on intimacy? I mean, what is it, respect of each other? Like, what would you say?
I think it's a combination of things. I think we communicate really well, but also I do trust her. Like, I would never suspect her of like going behind my back or trying to be shady. So when I think like, oh, she did something and it hurt my feelings, all I have to do is say that, and she's like, oh, well, I didn't mean that,
I love that. You know what? I love that you can communicate so well. That you can say that to each other.
I did go to school for it.
I know you went to school for communications, but you know what? Sometimes in life, people aren't comfortable with saying that,
Right.
what they need. Do you ask Olivia for what you need as well? Is it a give and take? And are you like this in all your relationships?
Not all of them.
I am in the important ones, because communication to me has always been key. For like with my husband, it's the most important aspect of any relationship, in my opinion. If you don't communicate your feelings, then you're going to have problems. So everyone needs to be on the same page, and I think that's what we do. And we're comfortable with each other because we've known each other forever, and we're not competing for anything. We have very different lives. It's never been about that, and there's nothing that she could do that would offend me. unless it's like something simple, and then like she said, we just, oh well, that was not cool, and then it's like, oh, okay.
But see, I just want to stay on this topic of communicating for a minute or two, because I think it's so critical, especially in today's world. You know, we're all so quick to read a text or read an email, and I'm as guilty as everybody else. I mean, I get many times, somebody will say, you didn't read your entire email, go back and read your entire email. And I think it's because we're all trying to do so many different things at
Right.
once. It's this hurry up, and we all have to be busy, or we have to, you know, keep up. But the two of you seem like you really have this whole communication thing nailed down. But you say you don't do it in all your relationships. No. And is that because you feel safe with her?
Yeah, I mean, I've known her for a long time. She knows my whole family, so I trust her a lot. I would say it's hard for me to trust everyone, and because like I have the heart problem and like that, I mean, it doesn't affect my daily life, but it is a big part of my life, and it's not something that I just want to like tell everyone because it's unnecessary. So, you know,
Here you are today and sharing your story with us. So
I know.
I love that. I think it's great. I know that there was a little hesitation at first when we asked you to join us and be a part of the show. So it takes a lot of courage and guts.
Right.
And I'm in all of you. I told you last semester, you've taught me a lot, and she's helped me become a better teacher. So with that, I guess, I'm just going to say it was great having you both on the show. Is there anything that you would like to add that we didn't cover? Is there one piece of advice you'd like to give to people who are looking for this type of friendship? Because your type of friendship, guys, is like one of a kind. So what would you say to somebody out there that's like, I really want a best friend like the two of these lovely women?
Just be honest and communicate.
It's really simple. Just let it happen and be honest with each other. Tell each other what you need to tell each other. Don't skirt around it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We've learned a lot on this show today. We have learned so much on the show today, so I can't even thank you enough. I have so much to say, but communication is key. You're looking fabulous and healthy, and that's all that matters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Helen Keller once said that it's better to walk with a friend in the dark than to walk alone in the light. Those of us who have spent any time in the dark understand the words of wisdom. When we are struggling, it is our friends who demonstrate our own value to us when we don't believe that we have any. Unlike family who are part of our life because of blood or shared upbringing, our friends are there because they choose to be. They remind us that our lives have meaning, not just for ourselves, but also for someone else. And there are few things more gratifying than being in a position to return that favor for someone else. Once again, I'm Lisa Bien, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Bouncing Back.